we are going to segue pretty quickly now into another indication of the craziness represented by the Human Rights Commission's position. And that is, you might not know this, and I try to have as little to do with real estate agents as possible, even though some of my best friends are real estate agents. Real estate agents, well, they have a sort of industry body, real estate companies, called the Real Estate Institute of New Zealand, but they are regulated by very good reason, for quite a lot of government regulation about the buying and selling of real estate. And there is a government body called the Real Estate Authority that enforces those regulations. It is a statutory body. It's set up by the government. It reports to Parliament, right? Or to the minister concerned, which I think is the Associate Minister of Justice. Every real estate agent in New Zealand, if they've got a certificate, every year they have to do 10 hours of refresher training to maintain their licence. And I presume that's keeping them up with things like changes in property law and precedent of cases and best practice in selling real estate to make sure they are honest, straightforward and fair in all their dealings, because there's a lot of regulation around it, and unregulated property transactions, gosh, this is a real New Zealand thing, can cause ongoing problems, can't they, as we know. But this year things are a little different. In the last week or so, real estate agents have been getting notifications that this year's training is going to have a special section in it, a compulsory section for their training on the Treaty of Waitangi. And this will teach them about Maori culture in general and what the treaty means and perspectives on the treaty in the context of New Zealand. It has nothing, it would appear, nothing to do with selling real estate. The other thing is that normally there are a number of organisations that can apply for and be licensed, certified to deliver the training required, the 10 hours retraining a year required to keep your real estate licence. But in the case of the special Te Treaty training, the authority says it has been working with the wānanga. What's a wānanga? Does anyone know? Like, that's just an organisation. It's been working with the wānanga to develop a syllabus. And the syllabus, because it is culturally inappropriate for other organisations which already have the licence to deliver the Treaty of Waitangi Māori brainwashing, you'll only be able to get your retraining that you've got to have by paying a fee to the designated organisation, and they won't say what that is yet. They say this is going to be great for real estate in New Zealand, but I can see it as nothing more than state coerced brainwashing and mind control. I don't know, maybe real estate agents don't give a stuff. All those that I've talked to are outraged. Very few of them, to be honest, are prepared to go on the record about it. One who has been on the show before. He's the real estate agent, commercial real estate agent working largely in the Wairarapa, who came on and talked about the silliness of the new road speed laws and our road policies. His name's Chris Gollins, and he joins us on the line now. Chris, welcome back to the platform. How are you?
Oh, good. Good, thanks, Sean.
All right, you've got this letter telling you that you have to attend the re-education camp?
Yes, everybody's aware that this is going to be required.
Okay.
And I agree with what you've said so far. It's really it's nothing else but forced political indoctrination.
Wow. Can you see how, and they are now not wanting to go into this, the Real Estate Authority. They're saying, oh, we're in consultation, nothing's been decided. Well, it has been decided, hasn't it? Because you've all got the letter saying this will happen. Chris, can you imagine how being more aware of Maori culture or the Treaty of Waitangi from a government perspective, which is that there is a partnership and we're an inherently structurally racist country, can you imagine how that is going to help you in your job in commercial real estate?
No, not at all, Sean. Not at all. In fact, I was actually thinking about, after you spoke yesterday, I was thinking about sort of past experience. And we actually, it sort of didn't even occur to me, but we dealt with a Maori commercial property owner last year. It was only when I was thinking about this that I remembered that we had dealt with that person. And I actually think that, if he felt that we were being trained specifically to deal with people like him, he would probably be insulted. I think it's belittling. I think it's condescending of Maori. I think if Maori are in the position of buying or selling real estate, then, to suggest that somehow they need to be dealt with differently really is a very condescending attitude. And I would imagine that many of your readers probably saw a story in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, which is incredibly timely because it was a report on a study done by the Copenhagen Business School on why some big companies seem to be getting more woke. And the conclusion was that it's due to power-seeking middle managers looking to carve out areas of responsibility that enhance job security. And they particularly focused on middle managers who take control of things such as diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the conclusion was that many chief executives in these organisations go along with it for fear of being removed if they stand up to these middle managers pushing these barrows. Now, I would imagine that the person within the real estate authority who has had this wonderful idea of compulsory, and we'll get back to that, compulsory education on the treaty, they're probably the golden-haired boy at the REA at the moment. I imagine that, everybody wants to associate with them because they're on the rise.
Yeah. Chris,
Chris,
the other thing is my impression of what information the REA, now that it's basically been caught being woke, and it's pretty reluctant now to give us any real details, from what my reading of this, you are not going to be educated about the treaty in relation to the work you do or your business or dealing with clients. It is simply to tell you how to think about the treaty in a much broader context. It is literally re-education.
Actually, if you read specifically what they have said about what the wānanga is going to do, they are talking about it having a real estate context. But, Sean, one of the things, we have 10 hours a year. Seven hours of those are elective subjects, and 3 are compulsory. So this Maori section is compulsory. It's 50% of the compulsory section this year. Now,
do you get judged on it? Is it a pass-fail thing, or do you just have to turn up and have the coffee at morning tea?
Yeah, that's basically it. But you do have to sit through it, and the wānanga are going to be running it. Now, most of the
what is the wānanga? Do we know what the wānanga is? That's a school or something?
It's Te Whare Wānanga Awanui Rangi, which is based in Auckland, and I think the main campus is in Whakatane. But hang on. But normally your training and everything, even your electives, would have been done by a myriad of approved training organisations. That's exactly the point I was going to make, that our trainers are generally people who have experience at the coalface of real estate, or they might be a lawyer that is involved in predominantly dealing with real estate issues. So they have credibility. When they're talking to agents and they come across something and they say, look, here's a case, here's an example of where someone stuffed something up and went wrong, and this is how you avoid it. They have credibility. Now we're going to have a trainer who's come in, who's had no experience in the industry whatsoever, has probably got no idea of any of the issues, will have no credibility with the people they are training, and they're going to sit there for an hour and a half staring out the window.
Have real estate agents been consulted or offered to have input into whatever the syllabus is going to be?
I'll stop telling jokes.
No, I'll take that as a no, Chris. So no consultation whatsoever. Okay. Next year, I understand it's LGBTQI training is going to replace this.
That's right.
I suppose you get Rainbow. I suppose you get Rainbow Youth to run that for you, don't you?
Look, I mean, the crazy thing is we deal with people from the gay community and what have you on a regular basis. I mean, many of those people are investors and what have you. Again, they are no different, Sean, to you and me. We don't say, oh, crikey, Dick, this person's gay. Now we need to deal differently with this person. Again, they would think it's just insulting to think that somehow they need to be dealt with differently. I mean, this is the craziness of this whole woke attitude.
Yeah. Do you think, Chris?
We have to have.
Yeah. Do you think, Chris, having a more extensive or a basic grounding in tikanga Māori and the treaty and the partnership that the treaty apparently now created, do you think that's going to make you provide better services to your customers? Do you think it's going to make you a better real estate agent?
No.
Okay, then why are you being...
Only one area. There's only one area, Sean, and that would be in dealing with, say, Maori land issues, which is an incredibly complex area. And there are specialists, but they're generally rural agents. So, there'll be the odd rural agent around the country that is skilled in this area. And if you came across something like that, you would ask a colleague and say, look, who should I talk to? Who should I pass this on to deal with it?
But it's not like you're brokering deals between tribes and a guy on a sailing ship with blankets and muskets, is it?
No.
Right.
No, unfortunately, no.
All right. So, Chris, what happened? And by the way, do you have to pay for this compulsory training to the wānanga?
Well,
the whatever it is?
This is it. Well, every agent has to pay, it's around about $800 a year for a licence. And I can assure you that in the current market, there'll be many agents that are struggling to do that.
No, look, I'm playing the world's smallest violin here, Chris. You're a real estate agent. Come on.
Yeah, come on. But you see, then they make it compulsory. And so they dictate the subject. So they're really saying, look, you cannot earn a living. You must do this. You cannot earn a living. You pay us $800 and we will tell you what you are going to have to be educated on. So as I say, if they made it one of the elective subjects and there's a choice, then it would be interesting to see how many people put their hand up for this as an elective subject. I think we know the answer to that, so they've made it compulsory.
Chris, is there anything, if you do not do this compulsory course, you lose your licence, right?
That's right.
Is there anything, and I have talked to a number of your, colleagues, compadres, fellow travellers, other real estate agents, they're all outraged, they're all pissed off. They all seem very scared about saying much about it. So I thank you for coming out this morning. Is there anything, and I would also add, we've talked to the REI and the Real Estate Institute of New Zealand, who seem reluctant to get involved in this controversy. Right, and seem to be working in lockstep with the Real Estate Authority.
Absolutely. As I said in the Wall Street Journal, it's not a good career move to stand up against wokeness.
Yeah. So is there anything that people like you who disagree with this can do?
No. There's the REA have total authority. I mean, the purpose of the Act, and here's what the Act says it's about. The purpose of this Act, that's the Real Estate Agents Act, is to promote and protect the interests of consumers in respect of transactions that relate to real estate and to promote public confidence in the performance of real estate agency work. Where does the wānanga fit in that? Yeah,
where does cultural re-education fit in that? Well, Chris, thank you for coming on this morning. I've had a lot of real estate agents contact me. I guess now it is up to you guys collectively if you want to do something about this, I can tell you David Seymour thinks this is just another example of the ethno-state that we're creating, and he's going to be on the program later on to talk about this as well.
Well, unfortunately, Sean, we're getting to the point where David Seymour seems to be the only guardian of common sense in this country. I mean, right now, I guarantee Luxon is listening to ZB. Seymour at least is prepared to tackle these things, and increasingly, he seems to be the only one with that courage.
Yeah. Chris, I thank you for your time, mate. Have a great day. That is Chris Gollins, commercial real estate agent. And I'm getting texts through from people saying, I got this rubbish too. I'm also getting some texts from some people saying they got the same email from the Human Rights Commission which has basically confirmed what we all knew. They are an ideologically driven organisation, the Human Rights Commission, who believe fundamentally you cannot be racist against white people. It is okay to call for the death or the murder of white men because we're white men. Wow. And look, I highlight this real estate issue, not because it's the biggest story in the world, because there are examples of wokeness and cultural change throughout our bureaucracy. And this is the transformation that Jacinda Ardern promised you. She just never told you about it. And now we are increasingly, strangely enough, as Labor tries to go bloke, we are seeing just how far the craziness of division and racial separation has gone in our country, right down to retraining our real estate agents to see the treaty and the two systems of government the right way. I don't know what you're going to do, real estate agents. That is up to you guys. That's up to your collective action.